up guys and welcome to my channel and for a new build for Stranger of Paradise. I finally got around to testing the Blue Mage, which is the new job that came with the Wanderer of the Rift DLC, and I gotta say this is probably my new favorite job. I had so much fun playing with this job that I can't even describe it. There are so many ways to play with this class and so many possibilities. It's just crazy to see any other mage class top this one. The Blue Mage is basically the Red Mage in that you can chain your abilities constantly and very quickly. Although you will be locked to only using one ability at a time, unlike the Red Mage where you can chain into 3 attacks and support spells as well. So the Blue Mage is by no means the strongest class, but it sure is the most fun. There are a ton of abilities that you can use. There are clearly some standout abilities, but I didn't want to be restricted to only using one skill. So we are using the Thief class as our secondary so we can switch up our abilities as we are fighting. This build can easily take you up to floor 60 to 65 with just the build alone. After which monster buffs will be important as for any mage build. The damage scaling is pretty ridiculous later on. I'm super excited to share with you everything that I've discovered for the Blue Mage, so let's get right into the build. Our main class is going to be the Soulflayer on the Blue Mage, and our secondary job is going to be the Rogue class on the Thief. We use the Rogue class so we can steal abilities from the enemies, which we can then use with our main Blue Mage. The Rogue class in particular will also occasionally give you a potion when you steal abilities. With this, we will always be maxed out on our potions, as it is very generous in how often you can get these potions when you steal. With the cost of our steal being very low, we can just spam it a couple of times and you will be completely maxed out on all your potions. And since we have a lot of potions all the time, the one affinity that you should really get is Stage at 400%. With this you can refill your MP and break gauge with potions. It is really helpful as most of your abilities on your Blue Mage are going to be very costly. With this you can always switch into your Thief and have a potion to restore your MP very easily. Other affinities that you will need for your Thief is 600% on your Void Knight, for cheaper command abilities and getting haste when you are over 4 bars of MP. Cyclic Warrior at 600% so we can proc all our soul shield effects whenever we use Lightbringer. This works well with the summon blessing we are using, which is Bahamut. You will get increased stats whenever we soul shield. So whenever we proc Lightbringer, the effect of this blessing will also get used. We get 400% on our Thief from the actual job itself. 400% on our Breaker so we get bonus damage whenever we soul burst enemies. 250% on our Samurai to get bonus damage on chain cancelling, and 120% on our Summoner to increase our max MP on chain cancelling. The stats you would want on your Thief are reduced costs on your command abilities as well as Soul Shield MP recovery, Soul Burst MP recovery and Action Ability MP cost. You can also reduce the cost of your steal and improve the effect of your steal. We also get the Lionheart Ring so we get the Invincible skill. I found that sometimes I was dying when I was stealing abilities, so it's good to have the Invincible skill on your secondary job as well. Now let's get into our main Blue Mage. We are using the Soulflayer class, which basically allows us to spam our main action skill continuously just like our Red Mage. Before we go in and have a look at the affinities, let's have a look at the abilities that you can use. I don't think any ability is bad, all the instant abilities are fun in their own way. Not all of them will be able to take on bosses, but every single ability is viable for mobbing. There are also some real hidden gems that I would never have thought of using when I was testing the build out, and a few that are really not what I was expecting at all. Like I never would have used the Saliva ability. After stealing it from the Great Malboro, I found out that this skill is so good against the Warrior of Light. I never would have thought that this skill would beat him so easily. The Bahamut's abilities, which I was so excited to use, was not all that I was expecting. It uses up a lot of MP for literally no damage at all. And the main Dragon Blade on the Bahamut is all doing physical damage, so it didn't work well with the build setup that I had, which was just a shame. So there are so many really good and powerful abilities that I can't go over every single one of them, but you can see from the gameplay that there are a lot of them that are really strong. I will however go over my top 3 and probably the most powerful abilities that I have come across. Firstly is the Flare. This skill works really similarly to the Black Mage's Flare ability, and it's by far the strongest hitting skill. And now on this Blue Mage, you can spam it continuously without losing your max MP to cast it. There are 2 versions, the Dark Flare and the Flare. The Dark Flare is less powerful but cheaper to use, and the Flare is more powerful but expensive to use. The Dark Flare can be obtained from Astos or the One-Eyed Monster, and the Flare comes from Leech. Second is the Molotov and the Grenade Bomb. These two abilities are very similar. They both will have you throw a bomb and create a puddle of fire where the bomb had landed. The puddle does some ridiculous tick damage and can melt bosses really quickly. All the ticks and damage are all magic, so it's amazing at regenerating all your MP back super quickly. Using it with the Dimension Bringer, you can see how these two are so powerful. The Molotov can be obtained from the Pirates and Becky, and the Grenade Bomb is obtained from the Death Machine. And then finally, the strongest ability is the Asura. Benefiting from both physical damage and magic damage, this version of Asura is by far the strongest ability that you can use. This can be obtained from the Marilith boss. Now let's have a look at the affinities. We get 600% on our blue mage, as it will allow us to regain MP when we attack enemies with the instant abilities, and then inflicting enough physical damage will cause the next ability to do increased magic damage. Since the Asura does both physical and magic damage, this will always get used. 600% on our black mage to get bonus intellect on soul shield and increase our MP limit based on the magic damage that we deal. 400% on our knight is very important. Without this, you will not be able to survive. With this, we will be immune to all enemy attacks. 400% on a dark knight, so we have all our near death effects active all the time. 250% on our white mage, so we can get bonus spirit stats. 250% on our red mage to make charge times a bit faster. Then we get any other affinities that give you bonus intellect, stuff like Tyrant and the Sage. The stats that you will need across your gear pieces is damage dealt and MP cost for blue magic. Then also strength, intellect, spirit, near death damage dealt, or any other damage bonuses that you may have. Get the best versions of each of them. For the command abilities, we get Lunatic for faster attack speed, and we get Summon Tachi for increased damage. Then we get the lore skills, so we can get boosted on all our stats and it can stack up to 3 times. Since we are using Thief, we can easily grab instant abilities and use it to proc this. It's a huge difference to have this, as your main ability takes into account every single stat. Here's a look at the master points I have on the blue mage. That is everything that you will need to bring this build together. You have so many options when you are playing with this build, so have fun experimenting. You may find an ability that is really powerful that even I may have missed. Still, the Flare, Grenade Bomb and the Asura are some of the strongest abilities that you can use for this build. You can get those from easily farming those specific bosses, Leech, Death Machine and Marilith. When playing with this build, make sure you have Invincible on both your jobs, because that is the only way you will survive, otherwise any stray hit will kill you. You can kill a lot of stuff even at a great distance, as everything will either drop straight onto the enemies or will travel all the way to them. Even the bombs have such great range and can be thrown really far. You don't need to be up close to the enemies at all. There are a number of abilities that do physical damage and not magic damage. So if you like an ability that does physical damage, then be sure to add that stat on your gear pieces. I definitely love mobbing a lot more with this build than bossing, as you can steal and play around with a lot of the enemy abilities and it's a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the build. Have fun with the build and play around with all the abilities. You may discover something that no one else has. I really wasn't expecting to like this job as much as I did. What did you guys think of this build? Which ability did you like the best? Let me know. I would love to hear from you all. I will catch you all next time.